Ethan Reeves was an ordinary 19-year-old college student, the kind who always ran late for everything. His friends joked that he'd be late for his own funeral. Between rushing to classes, part-time work at the coffee shop, and late-night gaming sessions, time always seemed to slip away from him. That changed the day he found the clock. It happened on a rainy Thursday afternoon. Ethan was hurrying home, hoodie-soaked, when he noticed a small antique store he had never seen before. Tempest Curiosities, the sign read. The windows were fogged, and a faint golden glow leaked through the cracks of the door. Something about it pulled him in. Inside, the shop smelled like dust and oil. Shelves were stacked with clocks, big, small, ornate, broken, ticking in uneven rhythm. An old man stood behind the counter, polishing a pocket watch. He looked up as Ethan entered. "Looking for something particular?" the man asked in a gravelly voice. Not really. Just hiding from the rain," Ethan said, shrugging. The man smiled faintly. "Sometimes the best things find us when we're not looking." Ethan's eyes wandered until they landed on a small, bronze pocket watch. Unlike the others, it wasn't ticking. The face was cracked, but something about it felt alive. A faint hum seemed to vibrate in the air when he picked it up. "How much for this one?" he asked. The old man's smile faded. "That one's special. Consider it a gift, if you promise to use it wisely." Ethan blinked. "You're giving it away?" The man nodded. "It doesn't belong to me anymore." Confused but intrigued, Ethan thanked him and left. The rain had stopped. He pocketed the watch and forgot about it, at least until that night. At 11:57 p.m., Ethan sat at his desk, cramming for a test he hadn't studied for. The ticking of his digital clock made him anxious. On a whim, he pulled out the old watch. It wasn't ticking, but when he pressed the side button, the hands spun wildly and stopped at 12 o'clock. And suddenly, silence. The world froze. The faint hum of his computer, the rustle of trees outside, even the clock on the wall, everything stopped. His pen hung in midair when he dropped it, frozen between his fingers. He stood, heart pounding. No way. He stepped outside. The entire city was motionless. A car stood still in the intersection, droplets of rain suspended in the air like glass beads. The only sound was his own breath. It was beautiful, terrifying, infinite. He wandered for hours, or what felt like hours. When he finally pressed the button again, sound crashed back into the world. His phone read 11:57 p.m. again. Time had never moved. He laughed out loud, both terrified and thrilled. Holy shit, it actually stopped time. The next day, he couldn't think of anything else. He experimented. Stop time, walk around campus, sneak into the cafeteria, move objects, start time again. The world shifted as if nothing had happened. No one noticed. He was careful at first, then careless. He stopped time during tests, during basketball games, during awkward conversations. It felt like a superpower, until he started noticing something strange. Every time he used the watch, he woke up more exhausted, pale, his hands trembled. He assumed it was stress, caffeine, lack of sleep, until he met her. Her name was Aria Lane, a photography student who sat near the library steps every afternoon, sketching or taking photos of random strangers. She noticed Ethan when he accidentally photobombed her shot. "You're in my picture," she said, smiling as he passed by. "Guess I ruined it, huh?" "Actually," she tilted her camera, "you made it better." That was how it started. Small conversations between classes, coffee runs, long walks home. Aria was everything Ethan wasn't. Calm, patient, always present in the moment. She had this way of noticing tiny details, sunlight on leaves, laughter in silence, beauty in ordinary things. "You rush too much," she said one evening as they watched the sunset. "You act like time's chasing you." Ethan chuckled nervously. "Maybe it is." He didn't tell her about the watch. He couldn't. But the more time he spent with Aria, the less he wanted to use it. She made the world feel slower, in the best way. Still, temptation was hard to resist. One night walking her home, they were almost hit by a speeding car. Without thinking, Ethan pressed the button. The world froze. The car hung inches away. Aria stood mid-step, her hair frozen in motion, her eyes wide with fear. Ethan moved her out of the way and restarted time. The car whooshed past, missing her completely. She gasped. "That was close." He smiled shakily. "Yeah, lucky, I guess." But when he got home, he collapsed. His vision blurred. His reflection looked older. Not much, maybe a day, maybe two. He laughed it off. Sleep deprivation, he told himself. Until it kept happening. Ethan began noticing changes. Gray hairs, dark circles, aching joints. He went back to the antique store, desperate for answers. But Tempest Curiosities was gone. The building was abandoned, dusty, as if no one had been there for years. He searched the city records. No one had ever owned a shop by that name. That night, he opened the watch again. On the inside lid, he noticed an engraving he hadn't seen before. Every second borrowed must be repaid. He felt cold. He started counting. He had used the watch over 30 times. 30 stops. 30 lost days. For weeks, Ethan avoided the watch. He tried to forget it, but life had other plans. One afternoon, Arya didn't show up to class. Then she didn't answer her phone. That evening, he got a call. She'd been hit by a drunk driver on her way home. He froze. The doctor said she was in critical condition. Her chances were low. He sat outside the hospital, shaking. The watch felt heavy in his hand. He knew what it could do. He also knew what it would cost. He entered her hospital room. Machines beeped steadily. Arya looked peaceful, pale against the white sheets. He held her hand, tears slipping down his face. "I can fix this," he whispered. "I can fix everything." He pressed the button. The world froze. Time stopped. Ethan walked outside, heart pounding. The city stood still, cars motionless, birds frozen in mid-flight. He wandered through the streets until he found the intersection where the accident happened. The drunk driver sat frozen behind the wheel, glass shards floating in the air like tiny stars. Arya's body was lying there, moments before the crash. He had one chance. Ethan pushed the car onto the sidewalk, far away from her path. Then he carried her gently to safety. But something was wrong. His vision flickered. His hands aged before his eyes, wrinkles deepening, skin fading to gray. Pain shot through his chest. He realized